Do you still have XRP?
I think the whole XRP thing is pretty ironic, to be honest, and it's designed for banking. Like, the whole point of crypto is to get away from banking. What are we doing? So
why should people put their trust and money into Bitcoin?
when you hear billionaires talk about investing into industries, they talk about investing into the market leader. If you're getting into crypto, Bitcoin is actually...
Can you give us an insight today? What are some of the top meme coins that people should look and consider to buy?
only ones that I hold long term.
I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Crypto Collective. After making millions with Amazon and e-commerce, I realized that if I was starting again today, crypto would be my first choice. I'm here to help you take your first steps and build real wealth. Ready to set yourself up for life? Let's go. Today we have Crypto Vic, a Canadian digital strategist, content creator with over a decade of experience simplifying crypto and highlighting 200x meme coins on his channel. This is one you do not want to miss. Let's dive in. Well, Crypto Vic, welcome to the Crypto Collective. Really appreciate you being here all the way from Canada. How are you doing today?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. It's been a busy day, but we're here.
Yeah, you do so much in the content space. I want to say it's just incredible what you do. You're blowing up all over social media, and I think because of the quality of your content. But you come from a digital marketing background before this. So what was it like coming from that space and then transitioning into the crypto space?
Great question. Wow, you did your research. I feel like I'm talking to Nardwar. Do you guys have Nardwar in Australia?
Is that something AI?
No, Nardwar is like this like music interviewer. He interviews artists, and he always like pulls some random thing out from like their childhood, like some album that they listened to when they were 7, and they're like, "What? How'd you find that?"
Why did you like Nirvana?
Yeah, exactly. So I come from digital marketing, and I think it's given me a big edge, to be honest. In 2017, I started a digital marketing agency. It was kind of part of the whole like marketing agency online business model trend. I mean, it was more of like an Instagram agency at first, and that was my transition away from like producing music. So before that, I was actually producing music full time. Okay. And I learned a lot about marketing when you're like trying to market yourself as a music artist. You learn a lot about marketing, right? Because you're forced to have to gather attention. Anyway, I stopped producing music essentially to focus on my business that became because I learned so much marketing, producing music. And worked with clients for years, worked with some really interesting clients. I would say like the most interesting client that I had was a supercar dealership. So they had like McLarens and Rolls Royce and Lamborghinis and Aston Martins. And we would go there and like film content of us just like turning on the cars and like revving their engines and stuff for social media. It was pretty cool. But COVID came and just completely nuked my business because it was all like local shops, and like the supercar dealership, for example, was in the States, just over the border from me. But an hour drive from me. And of course, with COVID, like they shut the borders down. So we lost 80% of our retainers in the first week of COVID. Just took a gut punch to the stomach, essentially. And I just had signed a lease on like this big office. I had 4 employees, like full-time employees in-house, not like overseas type thing. And yeah, we were trying to like really scale and grow, and then COVID just nuked us. So we pivoted to like Facebook ads, and then I learned more about like digital stuff, got into kind of coaching programs and stuff like that, because that's really what we could do at that time. And then I was in a coaching program, and I was in a coaching program for coaching programs, believe it or not.
Of course.
And yeah, and the guy was actually he was really smart. He was a really smart guy, and he basically really drove home the fact that we needed to be posting personal brand content every day. So I started posting personal brand content, like the most random stuff that you could think of about me. And in that whole kind of COVID isolation, I thought it'd be fun to build an Ethereum miner, because I had some Ethereum, I had some Bitcoin and XRP, very like, not too deep into the space, but just kind of dabbling, maybe like $3,000 or $4,000 worth. And I built this Ethereum miner, and I made a TikTok out of it, and it just blew up. It was like 300,000 views.
Wow.
And then I was like, wow, okay, well, I'm going to do more of that, because if I've learned anything, it's that if something works, dig in.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing, because so much to take out of that, Vic, because I guess on the content side of things, of course, I'm going to put up all your handles so that people watching this who are not already following you can find out what you're doing, not just in the crypto space, but I think more so from your content creation space. Like your videos are amazing, which is clearly, I've seen some videos they're millions of views, like millions of views, it's just incredible. Isn't it interesting though, just when you talk about COVID, how many people talk about that as a pivotal moment when they went from something to something else? They transitioned from what they were doing into something else. And I think from another level too, Vic, it was actually an eye-opener into peeling back maybe, hey, we're in this matrix and this is kind of not what we want to, what we're being told is perhaps not true. Mm-hmm. And did that have any impact then in your lead into crypto more so? Because I know that you had big issues with truckers having truckers and those supporting truckers during COVID had their bank accounts frozen.
Yeah. Funny you say that. So the original reason why I bought crypto was like at the start of the pandemic. So when I like formally bought it, I bought some in 2017 during that bull run when it was all over the news. I bought Litecoin, and then but it was on Quadriga CX, which is an exchange that went under, and it was a huge thing. There's a Netflix documentary about it actually. Mm-hmm. And so I lost that. But in 2020, I bought Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, because I went on this like psychotic deep dive into the banking system, and I learned that like fractional reserve banking existed, and that our bank account our deposits were just IOUs, and how money is printed out of thin air, and how even the insurance, like the federal insurance companies for bank accounts, like they don't have enough capital to support the amount of bank accounts that there are. So it's like I just like freaked out and had like a week of deep dive, like mad scientist level type shit. I can swear, right? Is that okay? Like just like
absolutely.
All right, cool. Yeah. So like I was like totally a mad scientist for a week, and I came to the conclusion. I'm like, okay, well, I need to own gold, real estate, and Bitcoin, and that's just what I've focused on since.
Yeah. Wow. You touched on XRP. So my question to you is, do you still have XRP?
No.
Okay. And why is it that then XRP holders are so vicious on social media?
I don't know if you saw one of my videos where I called XRP a CBDC. It's a very big video. It has millions of views.
I saw a different video where it had a lot of views, and it was basically saying that XRP is a meme coin.
Yeah, so I've made fun of XRP quite a bit. I'm kind of trolling, like in a way.
Yes.
To me, it's really funny, the comments, because like I'm in my video, I'm very serious about it, right? Like I'm very much like, and I'm just stating facts about XRP. Like the Ripple has been dumping XRP for years. It's a huge red flag to me, and it's designed for banking. Like the whole point of crypto is to get away from banking. Like, what are we doing? So I think the whole XRP thing is pretty ironic, to be honest. I know it might offend people, but that's just how I view it. It's my personal opinion. I owned XRP. I made a lot of money on XRP. Well, in context of back then, what a lot of money was to me then. I made good money on XRP. I bought it at like 11 cents Canadian. I sold it at like $2.30 Canadian.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. Yeah, so I pretty much caught the top last cycle. It was dope. But
so before, we loved XRP. It was amazing. And then, of course, you understood more of the tokenomics and the fundamentals.
I didn't really like know what it was. All I knew were like YouTubers were just shilling it so hard and acting like it was going to go to $100, and I didn't know any better, and I just was like, whoa. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap. So I think with that video that we're kind of talking about, I was really just trying to be an anti-voice in just a sea of euphoric voices, because at the time I dropped that video, that was when XRP had its really big pump, like 4 months ago or whatever, whenever it was. I forget what it went to, but it went nuts in the course of a week, and everyone was like, XRP, da, da, da. And I was like, what would do really well right now if I just like laid into XRP, because I have a lot of things I could say about it.
Yeah.
So I did, and the comments, that's probably one of my funniest comment sections to read. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle that, like people calling you an idiot.
I get it all the time, Vic. I love it.
Yeah. I just was there for the lulz, bro. It was hilarious. And it's still pretty funny to go through that comment section. So
yeah, I put some question marks around XRP, and then of course I got attacked, and I thought this is interesting. Just like you, I was like, I'm just going to put out another video about that, and it's like trolling the XRP army, right? They cannot resist commenting, and there's always this. They make this sort of comparison between XRP and Bitcoin, even though it's like comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, so tell people out there, Vic, because you've got 20 years or odd experience, rough. You've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Why should people not buy XRP? And if you even want to relate to, why should they not buy XRP and put their trust and money into Bitcoin?
So, Bitcoin is the market leader, right? That's how I look at it. When you think of when you hear billionaires talk about investing into industries, they talk about investing into the market leader. If you want to invest into an e-commerce company, who do you invest into? You invest into Amazon. They're the market leader. They're going to push the needle. If you're getting into crypto, Bitcoin is actually the least risky crypto to get into, because whatever it does, everything else follows, right? So, and we've seen that actually, where Bitcoin hit all-time high today, and where is Ethereum? It's even Solana, we're not near Solana's all-time high. It's like 173 or something like that. So that's how I think of it. And with XRP, it goes back to just banking. Like, banking fundamentally is broken. That's why banks get bailed out. And why create a system to make banks transactions faster when we can reinforce the system where we remove banks out of the equation? To me, it's just like a bad use of our effort as an industry. And not only that, but like Ripple have a history of attacking Bitcoin. They've launched marketing campaigns around Bitcoin to turn it into proof of stake, and making Bitcoin proof of stake would destroy it. It would make it not as decentralized as it should be, because if something is proof of stake, it can be regulated. Like Ethereum is proof of stake now, and it can be regulated. Just the way that staking pools operate within centralized exchanges. So I think it's very problematic to be saying that Bitcoin should be proof of stake. You would literally destroy the most, like a gift from God. How I feel, that's how I feel about Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. Because I guess the proof of work for Bitcoin is one of the fundamental attributes of Bitcoin.
Yeah, because like I could just get an ASIC miner and set it up in the Australian desert if I had power, and no one would even know I'm there, and I could be contributing and keeping the Bitcoin network alive, right? Like it could just be like a handful of nodes all over the world in the middle of nowhere, and Bitcoin will be alive. There's nodes in space on satellites. And we could have EMPs going off and nukes going off on Earth, and the ledger would still be functioning, and it would still be solid, because that's true decentralization. And you might argue, okay, yeah, there's mining companies, and BlackRock owns a lot of mining companies, and BlackRock owns 1 million Bitcoin, and Sailor owns whatever Bitcoin, so it's less decentralized because of that. But it's still, at its core, the way that it functions is if I have a node and I'm in the middle of nowhere and I'm running it, like, it's decentralized, bro. You can't stop me.
Yeah. Now, this might be controversial to you because I know you're huge in the meme coin space. You talk a lot about meme coins. Now, when someone comes to me and they say, Matthew, should I put money into meme coins? I'm like, absolutely not. Now, mainly though, I come from this on the sense of, because I don't know what I'm doing with meme coins. The average punter who's brand new into the crypto space has no idea what they're doing with meme coins, and I always direct them into Bitcoin. But what is the argument then, Vic, of meme coins, and why perhaps should people look at it as an investment or a way to make money?
Yeah, absolutely. So meme coins shouldn't be your whole portfolio. I think that's very unwise. And like I said, like the safest crypto to buy is Bitcoin, because it's the market mover. Where the least safe cryptos to buy, if I open the trenches right now and I buy the first new pairs that pops up on Solana, that's the dumbest thing I could do in crypto, right? However, like there is so many people, there are millions of people right now who are wanting to get into meme coins because they've heard other people or seen other people post these crazy P&Ls of them making a lot of money, which exists. That does happen. Okay, I've made a large chunk of money off of a 2 dozen, 3 dozen meme coins, whatever.
Vic, you can tell. What is the number? We want to know.
You're
talking to a small Australian audience here.
I don't disclose my wallets. I don't
Okay.
disclose like how much
Numbers?
money I have. I just like, it's security, bro. Like,
Okay.
people ask me for my public wallet addresses. I have so many wallets, but people ask me for that, and I'm not comfortable giving that stuff away because the right person, like you give that shit to like Zach XBT, and he's gonna map everything out. And there's like how many people like that we don't even know exist. So
do you have a crypto community?
oh yeah, big on Telegram.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is probably one of the best stories you've heard of someone making money? Not yourself, but someone else making money through meme coins.
It's just you see it sometimes in the chat. You see these P&L statements of people bringing in like 10, 15 Solana, doing like a 10x, a 20x. In my chat alone, like I've called literal 200x plays like in my group chat. Yeah, just like in the last couple months.
Wow.
About 2 months ago, we hit like a 211x in my group chat that I found. Yeah.
It's insane. People are going to listen to this, Vic, and be like, "Oh my god, this is now what's." Look, everyone wants that quick buck.
Yeah.
Right. They want to
But
get in.
That's the danger, bro. That's the dangerous part right there.
So tell us then, Vic, for the people, because I know everyone's going to be watching this thinking, "I want to get meme coins now too, and I'm going to jump in." What is the first thing they must consider when going into the meme coin space without getting wrecked?
Yeah, if you go in and you think you're going to make money, you're going to get like literally scammed in 15 different ways. Like the biggest thing that I try to do is to educate people to protect them against falling into pitfalls of scammers. Like there's more scammers like out there now than I've ever seen ever, and they're scamming in every way. They're rug pulling, they're sending fake trading bots that drain your wallet, they're impersonating me on Telegram and messaging people. Hey, I'm Vic. Now they're like they're actually calling them on Telegram with these fake accounts. That's a whole thing. I've been dealing with that for years, but whatever. They're bundling, they're sniping, they are sending fake tokens to your wallet, and when you swap them, it drains your wallet. Like there's so many ways that you can get scammed with meme coins. So I actually have a video, how to identify scams. I think it's called How to Identify Scams with 100% Accuracy. And that to me is like my most important video I've ever made. It has like 110 something thousand views on YouTube.
Not enough. Let's get to the millions.
Honestly, I agree, dude. And I send that video, and my mods send that video to thousands. We've sent it to thousands of people in our chat because that's the biggest thing to me, man. It's like, okay, they're going to go and they're going to trade them anyway because they've already been convinced that they're the ones that are going to hit that 100x play or 1000x play or whatever it is. So I am taking it on myself to figure out what are the ways that you can actually be successful. But the biggest thing is like, what are the ways that you can avoid all these pitfalls? What are some strategies you can use that like I've used to actually make some money in like a realistic fashion? Because I'm not posting like, this is how you hit 1000x every single day. Like, no, it's more, this is how you can actually make like a couple $100 a day if you use some of these strategies. And the crazy thing is though, that it's such a fast-paced space that a lot of the things that I've talked about in the past are like kind of outdated. And they're like 2 months ago. Like it's crazy how fast things move and how much we're evolving as a culture in the trenches. And so I have this love and hate for meme coins. Because
Vic, how did you first discover meme coins? Because you said you had XRP, but you obviously were committed to Bitcoin. You had some Ethereum, but then what was the switch then? What made you think, meme coins, that's the way to go? Did you just hit one really well and knock it out of the park and then go deeper?
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I found Rismus at about $550,000 market cap, and it ran, I think, to 90 million. Yeah. And then I was like, if I can do that 100 times.
Yes. Well, I could buy 10 Lamborghinis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then I think like the next week I found one called Universal Basic Compute. And I did about the same thing. I found it at about 100K, and I think it ran to like 50 million or 60 million in the next couple of days. It was pretty crazy.
And so what do you do? Because I ask everybody this because just for my own interest too, because I'm always I'm obviously navigating the crypto space. I'm trying to figure out how can I attain more Bitcoin? What do I do once I have the Bitcoin? Should I be... And I'm currently actually selling some of my commercial properties. Like I've got physical properties.
Wow.
I'm like dumping those Bitcoin. I have a car collection. I've started selling off cars. Just like, no, I don't need this anymore.
Were you buying like over the last couple of years, or like you buying now?
No, I'm buying ever since 22 is when I got after the last cycle. So after the peak of 21.
Yeah,
and
22 is the best time to start.
I was buying like at about, I think my very first trade was at about 60,000 US. So it was after the peak. And then I just bought all the way down, all through the bottom.
Yeah.
Didn't stop, just like buy.
Nice.
And then all the way sort of back up again. And through that period was this like self-discovery of one, of course, coming out of COVID and understanding money a bit more, and everything's being currency being debased and inflation and everything. Then it was, I've been basically told a lie. All these properties I'm holding come with huge risk. We have issues here, of course, with land taxes and government controls and things like that. So I'm like, and of course the yields are shit, and I've got maintenance issues and tenants and all this kind of thing, right? But the Australian dream is actually to buy property. That's what we've been led to believe for decades. I'm sure it's probably similar in Canada.
Yeah, very.
Right? Just quickly, today's episode is brought to you by CoinStash. And with CoinStash, setting up an SMSF account to invest in Bitcoin and crypto is simple. Their dedicated SMSF team ensures same-day account setup with personalized support every step of the way. So once you're set up, you'll have access to Bitcoin and over 1,000 digital assets. You can trade directly on the platform or access their premium OTC desk for larger trades. And best of all, CoinStash is fully compliant and Australian owned and operated, so you can invest your super with confidence. I personally use CoinStash for my SMSF investing, and I've been seriously impressed with both the service and the platform. Hit the link in the show notes and book your free call today. Let's get back to the episode. And then through this period, I'll tell you this interesting story. One of the things that I did in the very beginning was I had a friend who was into crypto, and I was asking him about it. And I've had success with Amazon. Funny enough, we talked about Amazon before. I've made lots of money with Amazon.
Okay, cool.
And the thing I did though was I went and got educated. I got educated by, like what you said, with your content or your coach.
Yeah.
I went and got coached on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then
that's pretty big.
Yeah, and I had success from that. And I would have spent in the vicinity of $30,000-$40,000 in coaching on Amazon.
Was it FBA? Like
FBA. Yeah, FBA,
nice.
which resulted me.
What did you sell?
I started off with some products that obviously turned out to be shit. And then I moved into discovered a medical device, which I then signed an exclusive contract on because it wasn't on Amazon, and have since done between $60 and $70 million in sales on that in the last few years. So hence why I then started buying up all this commercial property.
Yeah, that
was where it was. Where I was putting the money. Yeah, thank you. And then it was I need to know more about this crypto thing. I'm going to go and get coached on it rather than just like throwing all my money in, right? And you know what's resonated with me, what you said before, the first thing they taught me was how to protect the crypto. Yeah. Cold wallet storage, look out for scams, et cetera, et cetera. That's the first thing they teach you.
Yeah.
The friend of mine who didn't get educated in the space, who just knew what he knew, right, lost all of his money in the Celsius collapse.
Oh, brutal.
Had all of his life savings, was in the tune of 60 grand, just tied up and just overnight gone.
Yeah, gone. There were a lot of warning signs, though. There were a lot of warning signs that was going to happen.
Depends this is the thing, though, too, Vic, is you've got different levels of people who are involved in crypto. Like some people just have it there and they're just off doing their day job and they come back in a month and look at their account, right?
Yeah.
And in comparison, you've got people like you and me who like every spare second of the day is like, how can I buy more Bitcoin, or how can I learn about, in your case, more meme coins or something. Yeah. And so this transition, so back to this whole transition for me. And then I moved into self-managed super funds, right? So we have superannuation in Australia. You have to allocate to that, which is like a 401k.
Okay. You have to allocate to it?
You have to allocate to that. The government regulates that your pay.
Okay.
Has
it's like
to
a pension?
Correct. Like, yeah. But
okay,
it's like,
we have a pension here. It's like a government pension.
This is putting money aside so you don't have to rely on a pension. That is the essence of the superannuation scheme.
And they like literally make you do it.
Yeah, so the employer siphons off part of your salary. At the moment, it's 12.5% and puts that into a fund. Wait for this, though.
12.5%?
Yes. Wait for this, though. The unions who control the Labor Party in Australia, which is the left, which would be the equivalent of your Mark Carney.
Yeah, the Liberals. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have the same elitist cult that we have.
We've got to play on words here, though, because the Labor Party sits on the left of politics, which is your Liberals, and we have a Liberal Party, which is actually the Conservative Party, right? Just so you follow that one.
It's weird because it feels like the Labor Party should be conservative. Like if you're doing like hard labor, you're like most likely conservative.
Well, they used to be. They used to be a bit like the Democrats were for the working man, and now it's switched where the Labor Party is more for the elites and more control, and so. The scam of the superannuation system is that you're mandated to put this money into a fund that you cannot touch until you get to basically 67 years old. So that fund is then allocated into anything but crypto, not Bitcoin, just in your stocks, Australian shares, international shares.
Do you get to choose what it goes into?
You can allocate it as to riskier and non-risky. That's pretty much it. You can't say put it into Tesla, put it into Meta or whatever. You can't do that.
And what if you're self-employed?
If you're self-employed, you can allocate to that. So that's called an industry super fund, right? Where they basically just control it for you and you can just get on with your day. Separate to that is what's called a self-managed super fund, where you as an individual, whether you're an employee or a self-employed worker, you own your own business, you can allocate what you want. So what you can now do, and this is what I've done, is I've moved all of my industry fund super into a self-managed super fund, which I take control over, and I've allocated all of that essentially future pension money into Bitcoin.
I thought you said you couldn't do that. Or can you do it through ETFs?
You can't do it under an industry super fund, but if you take control under a self-managed super fund, so I can allocate where I want, then you can put it into Bitcoin. So
are they taking, is the government taking like some fee or some bullshit?
I can't make this up, Vic. This is because you're going to just be like, what the fuck? So what's happening right now, this is happening today, this is the discussion all over the news, is the current federal Labor government wants to bring in a new unrealised capital gains tax on your superannuation, right?
So they're going to force you to invest and then they're going to take, it's just another tax. Like, that's insane.
It's not just even a tax on profits. It's a tax on unrealized profits, meaning you haven't even sold the asset.
They're trying to do the same thing in Canada, unrealized gains as well. Canadians are taxed out of our fucking ass, bro. It's insane.
Yes. That's what happens here in Australia.
But Australia and Canada, like, we're the same level of corrupt, ridiculous bullshit. Didn't you just have an election and they shouldn't have won too?
Yeah. Well, they just
re-elected this. Same thing here, bro.
I saw a video that you did, and you said we cannot re-elect the current Liberal party.
We didn't.
And of course, what happened?
I don't believe we did. I think that there was other things that happened, but I've decided I'm done posting about politics. It's just it's too draining. I'm just going to focus on getting rich as fuck, and then they can fuck off. I'll do whatever I want.
This becomes the problem.
Sorry, I'm swearing a lot.
No, but you're totally right though, Vic. And I get so worked up about this because we're literally debating this issue right now. Everyone in Australia is trying to work as hard as they can to build up a retirement in a superannuation account, whether it's self-managed or other, so they're not a burden on the taxpayer by drawing a pension in the future. Then the goalposts shift and they say, it's literally you're earning too much. You've got too much wealth now. We want to now take some of that. And guess what the threshold is, Vic? It's literally $3 million. That is now considered rich. Okay, the average house in Sydney, Australia, is $2 million. Okay, so we're not talking $300 million. We're talking $3 million, and that's considered rich. It's insanity.
It's because they want to shrink the middle class so it doesn't exist anymore, and then they want two classes. They want the elite class, and then they want everyone else, and they want to make it so you need the government for everything, because then they control you, and they're going to implement digital ID. They'll implement credit system. They'll implement a CBDC, and then it's like Black Mirror, bro. We're cooked.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw.
What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm gonna throw one more spanner in it because this is gonna blow you away. On top of this, because he talked about the elites, right? The people who are exempt from the unrealized capital gains tax, the politicians, the judges, and the bureaucrats. Yeah, I can't make this up.
That's fucked, bro.
I'm surprised there's not marches in the street with pitchforks.
They won't do it because everyone's scared, bro. Like, everyone is just so scared of them. Like, Trudeau made an example and the whole world paid attention. They're going to freeze my bank account. You know what I'm saying?
And this is where, and I want to bring it back to Vic. This is the problem, is because people like me and other people, even in my community, because I help bring people from the industry super fund into self-managed super fund to allocate to Bitcoin, the number one asset. Okay. And now the Bitcoiners like me feel like we're under attack from our government trying to steal our Bitcoin. Let's get back to, you said before, which I love, I'm just going to get as rich as fuck and make so much money that I don't have to worry about all this political shit.
Yeah, bro.
Tell us, what is your strategy? How can other people do this?
Dude, you're doing it right now. That's what you're doing. Content, 100%. Okay, so do you know Alex Hormozy?
Yes.
Okay, he's my GOAT. Just going to say that. Alex Hormozy's my GOAT. There's no other GOAT above Alex Hormozy. Maybe Cristiano Ronaldo, but Alex Hormozy's my GOAT, okay? And he says that there's 6 different types of leverage. And leverage is the most important thing. Because, like, if we had this conversation one-on-one, only we would value from it. But you have leverage of this being media. So now I don't know how many people will see it, but we've multiplied it by that many people. That many people can get value from this conversation, right? Leverage is the most important thing in business. It's the most important thing really in the world, right? How many outputs you can get for every input that you put in. So if I have one conversation with someone like this and I make a really good point, only they learn. But if I make a video of it and I post it on the internet, maybe millions of people will see it. Maybe millions of people will learn. That is the best form of leverage. The greatest forms of leverage from that Hormozy says is media and software. So media, like I just described, software does a very similar thing. I can make software once, and like Facebook, billions of people use that. They make Facebook once. They don't make it billions of times, and it scales to 1 billion people, and their infrastructure can support it. So the difference, though, is that software has a very high barrier to entry. It's very expensive to create it. It's very technical to create it. You got to be an expert. You got to know what you're doing. You have to have a really good idea. You have to pay for cloud space. You have to pay for staff, all that stuff. With media, I could literally make TikToks on my phone that I already have, and TikTok is free. And just like thousands, if not millions of other creators online, develop a following and monetize it. And the only thing that I need to do is take action on the media. So therefore, creating media content is the highest leverage thing that you could do from a leverage standpoint. Now, when you think about where the money comes from media, you need to isolate it. The money comes from, in media, primarily from advertising. The advertising industry runs the world. People don't realize that banking and advertising run our existence. They say that you see like 10,000 ads a day or something like that. Advertise. If you go to Times Square, why is Times Square so famous? Because there's ads all over. How does Facebook make money? How does your favorite sports team make money? How do magazines operate? Radio stations, television stations. It's all advertising. Without advertising, they would not make money because business owners need to get in front of consumers or other businesses, depending if you're B2C or B2B. You couldn't operate your Amazon business without the eyes that Amazon brings to you. And then if you had to do it on your own through Shopify, you would have to buy Facebook ads, right? Mm-hmm. In advertising, there's a very, very important metric called CPM, cost per 1,000 views, cost per mille. Mille, I think, is Latin for 1,000. Depending on the industry that you're in, the 1,000 views that you buy varies drastically. So if I were to purchase ads for kids' toys, the ad cost would be very low because the kids are not the decision makers. So if I'm targeting ads towards kids, which is very hard to do, by the way, like there's lots of regulations around this example, but let's just say there isn't. I could pay $1, $2 per 1,000 views for my ad with that CPM for that audience. However, what is the most lucrative CPM? And that's someone who has spending power and is going to purchase something that has an insanely high ROI and do it over and over and over again. Traders, right? Mm-hmm. Crypto, I would say crypto probably has the highest CPM out of any other industry. I don't know exactly, but I can't think of a higher one because some of the deals that I see are crazy. Some of the deals that I see my friends make, they're crazy.
What do you mean deals? You mean sponsorship deals?
Sponsorship deals, yeah.
Tell
absolutely.
me, what sort of deals? Tell me, give me some numbers.
I can't give you numbers.
What are the crazy numbers? Don't give me brands, but what are some of the crazy deals you've seen to get eyeballs?
I mean, like, I charge tens of thousands of dollars if you want my face and me to work on a video for what you're working on.
Wow.
Yeah, and you should be doing this too, bro. Like, if you're not doing this, like,
I do have sponsors reaching out all the time because I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. There's a big appetite within the crypto space to get in front of eyeballs through creators like yourself and myself.
Now there is a very strong nuance that I need to focus on quickly before someone takes this the wrong way, is that you have to disclaim your partnership, which I think is a massive issue with a lot of influencers in crypto, is that they don't disclaim, they don't tell, I have a material obligation here to create this content because I made a deal with a brand or a project. Any project or brand that I work with, I'm telling my audience up front, this is a partnered video. I did one yesterday, actually. There's a project that I did a video for, and it's a trading platform, and also they have they're making their own blockchain, and they have their own token. So it's called Zignali. So I did a video for them. I charged what I charge, posted on my stuff. In the video, bro, I literally have a legal paragraph that I put on the screen that says, disclaimer, Zignali is a partner of this video. They paid me to make this video. In my Telegram, I say, this is a partner video. That's how you have to do it. If you don't do that, you're shady, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's just, and it's also illegal, by the way, if you're an influencer, to do a brand deal and not disclose it. So
yeah. We always say partnerships, which obviously makes it very clear. But also, I think the shady part, it more so is, like, I'm going to relate it back to XRP again. You've got a lot of people who I understand get paid to shill XRP. Is that true?
I don't know. I've never talked to anyone that could confirm that. I mean, probably. I've heard of other big projects. I know of other big projects for a fact. I did a campaign with Polkadot.
Okay.
And obviously told everyone in the video that they're the partner of that video. But I did a campaign with Polkadot. So there are...
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as, like you say, it's disclosed.
100%. Like I said, advertising runs the world. And crypto projects, crypto brands, as long as they're, like, if you promote something and it's a complete like scam, then you're an idiot and you didn't do your due diligence and you led your followers down the wrong path, and you should reevaluate the way that you take on deals.
So Vic, let me bring this back then. So there's the strategy for yourself then, let's say, to become extremely rich. I can't remember the term you use. Really fucking rich.
Rich as fuck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is basically monetize the channel, make money through meme coins. And does that mean the next step is you rotate that into Bitcoin, or are you rotating into some other asset?
I like real estate a lot. I own 2 properties. I know that you're kind of getting out of it, but the way that I see it, the price of real estate will only continue to go up because the dollar is so trash that the value of the dollar will only continue to go down, and real estate is valued in terms of how many dollars there are. So like a house that you bought for $300,000 10 years ago, it went to $1 million, not because the house got 3 times bigger, but because the dollar got 3 times shittier. Because of COVID, right? Because of money printing, because of the 2008 crisis or whatever. There's lots of reasons they do quantitative easing, and they create more dollars. Fundamentally flawed.
So Vic, are you thinking about, okay, you've allocated into, let's say, property, you're stacking more Bitcoin, I'm guessing, then with some of the profits that you're making from
Bitcoin,
your business.
Solana, ETH, mostly. That's mostly what I hold, yeah.
Okay. And so what then happened, because this has happened to a friend of mine. He's extremely well off, doing very well.
Yeah.
Holds a lot of Bitcoin, sold all of his commercial properties, including his house, and he said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, and shipped off to Cyprus.
Dope.
Right. Mainly because of the way he was being treated in Australia, with the government trying to come down on him at every turn, trying to take their piece. Right.
Yeah.
He also just likes the idea of being in a central part of, around Europe, where he's accessible to UK, France, Germany, etc. And the tax regime in Cyprus is quite low. My understanding is it's 12.5% on company earnings, 0 tax on dividends, 0 capital gains tax.
Wow.
Right. And you only have to live in Cyprus for 2 months of the year to be a tax resident.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So
sick.
So when you're thinking about, also being free, does that come into play? Like if you buy property, it's like, oh, actually now I want to leave the country. I can't just pack up my Bitcoin and go. I've got to sell all these properties now. You see what I'm saying?
I don't have the intention on ever selling any of my properties. I'm just going to keep loading them up. That's really my goal, is like I'm just going to keep buying them. The way I look at it with real estate, like I get what you're saying about real estate. There's a lot of baggage that comes with it. The way I look at it, though, is that the most amount of millionaires in the United States became millionaires from real estate, like by a long shot. And I assume most of those people are not super intelligent. They're just kind of normal people
Right.
who followed a system of
Yeah.
get a house, increase the equity, go back to the bank, get a line of credit, buy a second house, increase the equity, repeat. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm learning a lot too. Like I'm learning a lot about how the banking stuff works, but also like how to actually fix things and build things and renovate on my own without having to pay contractors like tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, you're crypto, not just Crypto Vic. You're the handyman Vic.
I'm Handyman Vic. That's going to be.
That's going to be. Yeah, I was going to say that's your whole second channel. And this is guys. This is how you hammer a nail.
Oh my gosh! Today, I did a photo shoot for for YouTube thumbnails today, and I got one photo back from the guy, and it's just a very I have this very boyish look on my face, and I love it. I thought it was a great photo, and I posted it on X, and I wrote boy band Vic, and then 7 meme coins came out that were boy band Vic.
No shit.
And one of them ran up to $50,000 market cap. I thought it was the funniest shit.
Wow,
that's one of my dreams, bro. Is that everything I tweet becomes a meme coin.
Oh, totally. You're in the big time when anything you tweet becomes a meme coin.
That's literally my
Crypto
dream,
Vic
bro.
is there.
Not yet. But that was the first time, and I was so happy. I just letting everyone know I had nothing to do with that. I didn't even know. One of my mods sent it in the chat and was like, look at this. And I was like, oh my God, that is so funny. I love that.
That's brilliant. Yeah. And well, that being said, then I guess the next question is Crypto Vic going to be releasing his own meme coin?
Oh, no, never.
No? Okay.
I did do a Believe coin. So do you know about Believe?
Mm-mm.
So there's a thing called Launchcoin on Believe. Basically, you can tweet at Launchcoin and then just the name, and it will create a meme coin. just from your tweet. And the day it came out like last week. The day it came out, like I literally could not resist myself. Like I tried to resist myself to not do it because I don't want to launch any meme coins. Like I don't want to launch. I do actually want to, but I think there's only bad things that can happen. Mm-hmm. It's way too risky.
Your brand equity is probably going to go down the toilet.
Yeah. The coals that launch coins all the time, they have a really bad reputation because if they rug or if they don't do well, there's lots of PvP and it just goes to zero. Like who gets blamed? The coal, right? Yeah. So I've said for a long time I'm not gonna launch anything. I get asked. At one point, I was getting asked multiple times a day, and I've decided no. But I did a launch coin on Believe, and that was the day it came out, and these coins were going nuts. Like everything that was getting minted was running up to like $1-2 million in under a minute. It was nutty. Yeah. And I did one, and the technology was very new. And do you know like the bonding curve moving to migration and how pump fund tokens work? So with pump fund tokens, there's something called the bonding curve, which is the first kind of stage of a meme coin. It's usually from, depending on the price of Solana, from $4,000 market cap all the way to like $70,000 market cap. Once it reaches $70,000 market cap or whatever the bond price is, all the liquidity in that bonding curve gets bundled up and moved over to Pump Swap. Now it used to be Radium, but Pump Swap, and that's an actual liquidity pool. So it turns into like a real coin, and it gets a ton of attention. So launch a coin on Believe does the same thing. It has a bonding curve, but the bonding curve is kind of shaped differently. So it can get more traction faster. It starts at $24,000 market cap instead of $4,000 market cap, but it runs up to the same $70,000 level. Mm-hmm. And so I make it. And I tweet it, I make it. I go over to Launchcoin to try and buy it, and it was already bonding. Like in under 5 seconds, snipers put over $100,000 worth of liquidity into it. They sniped up $100,000 worth of it. And I was like, what just happened? Like, I kind of made it known I was going to launch it, but I did not think that was going to happen. $100,000 liquidity in the first 5 seconds is stupid. And the tech was really new. Usually bonding, that migration process, takes a few seconds.
Yeah.
But with this, it was taking hours that day.
That's crazy.
It was brand new.
That's crazy.
So I was telling everyone, I'm like, do not buy this. The moment this thing bonds, those snipers are going to dump it. It's going to go to zero. Don't buy it. And that's what happened. It went to zero.
Let me ask this then. You said do not buy this, but can you give us an insight today? What are some of the top meme coins that people should look and consider to buy?
Yeah, I think like one of the only ones that I hold long term is Fartcoin, because
I know every time. I know
it has utility, bro. The utility is people are just like, shut up. Like when it's on the news and people like Fartcoin just hit $2 billion in market cap. It's just like the funniest
like the
shit.
Crypto industry is just so toxic.
It's a flywheel, dude.
Yeah.
It's a flywheel of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
That's insane.
And that's why I think it has the most.
There you go, guys.
Legs.
You heard it first from Crypto Vic, the man, the meme coin guy who is all over this stuff. He has said Fartcoin is the one.
Yeah, but don't buy it. Just like, be safe with your money. Go buy bonds. Don't buy meme coins, bro. Just go buy Bitcoin and bonds and a good house and get a tenant.
Yeah, that's awesome. Vic, I've got to wrap up this call. You've been absolutely incredible. Tell me, for people who do want to find out more about meme coins, perhaps you can talk about your online community.
Yeah, so go check me out on YouTube, Crypto Vic. In my YouTube videos, my biggest YouTube videos about meme coins, you'll have a call to action for my Telegram group. Definitely join the group and the community. There's a group chat in there. Currently, we're at around 9,000 people in the chat. Huge chat. 24/7 people are trading, asking questions, new beginners, people that are very experienced. We have whales in there. We have developers who launch tokens in there too. I don't really let them launch in there anymore, but they have. And yeah, we're just trying to do something positive, man, and put God at the center of everything here, because I think that this industry can get so evil, bro. And like, you really gotta look at it what it is. It's a fast track to get somewhere if you do it right. And if you're in it now, even if you lose money this cycle, just stay here, bro. Like don't leave. Don't go and forget about it. Keep learning. Keep getting your hands dirty. Stay in the big tokens, Solana, Bitcoin, and the future you will literally thank you, because the future is going to be crazy, and it's going to need crypto in order to survive, as we talked about with Australia and Canada. Bitcoin is going to be just a pathway to freedom for a lot of people. Like privacy tokens like Monero are definitely worth looking into as well when you're dealing with elite governments like this. Definitely good things to look into. So yeah, that's what I have to say. My finishing thoughts here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crypto Vic. I think on those final words is we will need crypto to survive. Awesome.
Yes, and also stay safe in the trenches.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vic. Really appreciate it. You take care.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more of me at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms.